Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
We want to hear what the youth of California have to think about this. You know, it's not nature who separates us, it's us who separates us.
The most interesting thing to me was the part where they teach us about to stand up for others and ourselves.
And now it's more, modernized, and where the same vocabulary is being used, the same language is being used. And now we sort of get to just come into a community and be like, hey, you can change the world and you have the power.
Education is the key that ties it all together.
Welcome to Valley Vibes, your show about culture, arts, and happenings in the Imperial Valley from a youth perspective. I'm Dr. Tom Tackey, the creator and executive producer of Valley Vibes. Recently, the Mobile Museum of Tolerance visited Central Union High School and provided students with meaningful opportunities to learn about the turbulent times of the past and the efforts made to create a nation striving for true equality and inclusiveness. On today's episode of Valley Vibes, we dive into how this interactive experience is shaping conversations on our campus, sparking reflection, empathy, and a deeper understanding of the challenges our community still faces. Stay tuned as we hear directly from students and educators about the impact of this powerful visit.
Hello, I'm Luke Caesar, and today's Valley Vibes will be about the recent visit Central Union High School had from the Mobile Museum of Tolerance. My co-host Soleil and I will visit the two presenters that travel with the museum and learn about what the museum does and what their positions with the Museum of Tolerance are all about. Following those interviews, we will visit with Miss Melissa Fusey, one of our CUHS teachers that was responsible for the visit, and also hear from a few of her students about their experience with visiting the museum. It is a really great show, and we learned much from it. Hello and welcome. It is your regular scheduled episode of Valley Vibes. I am your host, Luke Caesar.
I'm Soleil Cuevas, your co-host.
And today we are here with two of the presenters from the Mobile Museum of Tolerance who have been here at Central for the past week presenting to some of our students. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Eva.
And I am her partner in crime, Raquel Martinez.
So, Eva and Raquel, if you could tell us a little bit about your background, maybe your education, and how you got here.
Yeah, I'll start. So I got my Master of Arts in Teaching from USC and then got right into teaching sixth grade in the classroom. So that is what I did before becoming a tour guide at the Museum of Tolerance. And then when I found out about the Mobile Museum, I signed up right away. I'm a California girl from LA, but there's so much of California that I still haven't seen yet. And my favorite food is enchiladas.
It's delicious.
So for me, I went to school in under-resourced communities. So, shout out to Locke High School, 08. And then I went to UC Santa Cruz for my my BA in mathematics with my minor in physics. Due to financial circumstances, I didn't get to finish my BA, so I came back home to support my family. And then I joined the nonprofit sector. So I did City Year for 2 years, which we go to under-resourced communities, and we're just young 18 to 24-year-olds who believe in the future and change, and we go and support in the classroom and after school. And I did that for 2 years, and then I was in the classroom for about 8 years at John Muir Middle School for one of those years, and then I did 8 years at Edwin Markham Middle School in Watts. And then I did 2 years at a charter school, and I was in the special education department for 2 years. So I've been around.
Yeah, definitely. Those are some really diverse backgrounds.
So from your backgrounds, that doesn't really seem like it would end up on the Museum of Tolerance. So how did you
end up in the position you are today?
You want to go?
Can I take over?
Go for it.
Being an educator, it's the same, right? We're always the first to advocate for students'
Definitely.
mental health, and our roles are so large from like our job descriptions, right? We're counselors, we're nurses, we're parents in some circumstances. We're more than just teachers, and the worlds are intertwined between the mobile museum and what we do as educators, because we believe in the power of youth and we believe that you all are the future. So being able to now focus on a different aspect of education is really important, because now we're seeing what silences does in our communities, and we're seeing what it's doing to the world. So being able to take our experiences and using what history has taught us to move forward in a positive and loving way is really important to the work that we do, because as educators, you're dealing with so many things, and as an educator, you have to choose between a student's well-being or their academic success. And now we sort of get to just come into a community and be like, hey, you can change the world and you have the power. But that's something that is not different from what teachers do every day. What do you think, Ava?
Yeah, I would say my favorite part of teaching in the classroom was definitely getting to know the students and building relationships with them. The part that bogged me down was all the meetings and the grades and parent-teacher conferences. And when I found the Museum of Tolerance, that just seemed so much more my speed. It can get a little claustrophobic in the classroom, trying to bring the outside world in a confined space. But being in a museum where the students can explore and come to us, it opens the world. And then with the mobile museum, now we're reaching communities that can't, access the museum locally. Reaching those communities that you all are so bright. Like, we want to hear what the youth of California have to think about this. So it's really interesting.
It's really fun.
But I agree. I think that education is the key that ties it all together.
I couldn't agree more.
I love that you tied what I had to say and what you said
thank
together
you.
in a nice little bow.
Yeah, that's me.
For those who don't know, where is the non-mobile Museum of Tolerance?
So the mobile museum, no, you just said. The Museum of Tolerance is in Los Angeles, located kind of by Beverly Hills, Century City.
So the Mobile Museum of Tolerance, you're bringing this education to other cities that can't access it locally, as you said. So what are you guys showing these students? What are you presenting or teaching them?
Well, we offer a number of workshops. One of them being a workshop about the Holocaust. We teach students about the Holocaust and the history of it, and how young people were affected. All of our workshops do kind of center around youth voices. We teach about Anne Frank. We talk about the Civil Rights Movement. And one of our most impactful workshops is called Combat Hate. So that one is all about media literacy and getting the students to see how online hate actually affects them. We've noticed a lot of students seem desensitized, and because it's been normalized. So it's important for us to actually break it down and talk about it, because when we break it down, then they realize, oh, wow, that's really offensive. Like, I didn't mean to laugh at that, or, that's not how I took it.
And the goal is essentially that we've seen that everything that's happening in the world today starts with words. And seeing how, when Hitler rose to power, it started with the word, right? It started with words. And now it's more, modernized, and where the same vocabulary is being used, the same language is being used. And it's essentially getting students to realize that words really do matter. And hate begins with silences, but more importantly, words, jokes, oh, I'm just joking with you. I said something racist, but we're friends. It's just a joke, right? Why can't you take a joke? And that's how, it escalates and it begins with words. And I think that's the power that we bring, where we break hate to the core and making students realize that you think it doesn't impact you because it doesn't hurt you, but you always have to think about the person around you or the person next to you and how your words may impact them.
Yeah, definitely. As a student myself, I think more than ever I've been seeing stuff like that, especially here, and I'm sure it's countrywide, but I see it myself, and I think what you're doing is amazing to bring light to that.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
all we feed off of the schools. We feed off of the students. The students will tell us what is happening, and we just facilitate the breaking down. We're when we say we teach the Holocaust. We teach it. You guys already know about it, but how can we make it important to the community?
Or how do we even begin to create spaces and where you said, I feel it, but have we really talked about it?
Yeah.
Right? So then we get to create spaces and where we ask questions like, are you seeing prejudice, discrimination, racism, happen in your school? And you have a lot of students raising their hand. And then when we start breaking it down, okay, what about on your campus? We have students raising their hand. And then let's break it even further. What about in your classroom? And we have students raising their hands, right? So it's happening at all levels. And schools already have a lot to do, but to be able to come into a space and just provide a safe space for students are like, yeah, this is a problem, it's happening, and now we can talk about it. We're not gonna get into the nitty gritty, but we have to acknowledge it. And hopefully with acknowledgement, maybe your teachers, your schools, or students like you all can take a step and be like, we talked about it, maybe now it's time for us to do something about it. And that's our job. We're just setting the foundations. And I hope that all of you can take what we've done this week and make a better space for all of the students here, no matter what walks of life.
Yeah. Word.
I agree. Like through the epidemic of hate speech, you guys are like the light at the end of the tunnel. And so we really do appreciate what you're doing, and it makes school a safer place for everyone. So thank you.
I hope so. And at the end of the day, we're guests in your community. So we can't come in here and say, this is what you should do.
Right.
No.
And we're not a light, right? We're just
Yeah.
talking.
No, we are a light. She said we're a light.
Yeah, we were a light.
Except that you're a light.
Fine, I'll take it. But it's not that. Like, the goal is never to come here as saviors. And that's why it's really hard to be like,
true.
we're the light. We're not. You all have been doing amazing work, and give yourselves credit. Like, you're not... What you're doing now as podcasters and you're interviewing is not seen at other schools.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So, like, yes, you may think we're a light, but you've already let the foundation for us to come in and have these conversations. And the kudos goes to all of you. Like,
Yeah. I would say we're a mirror of your excellence. We are showing you how amazing you all are and how far you can go.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Then I guess for better words, you are like the lighting of torch of peace or something.
Yes.
There you go.
That's it.
You're listening to Valley Vibes and our visit from the Mobile Museum of Tolerance. All Valley Vibes episodes are available on Spartan Sound Productions YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and iTunes.
All right. On a less serious note, I'm going to talk about your actual mobile museum, the station you work in. How long has it been active?
Ava, take the mic.
So the mobile museum, our first one started in Illinois 5 years ago. Since then, we've sprouted some other ones in New York. We have 2 in New York, 1 in Florida, then the California one,
Massachusetts.
and now we have Massachusetts. So the California bus has been operating since last October.
Wow.
Yeah. And we, just within this first year, we've served over 30,000 students across California.
Wow.
It's pretty, it's awesome.
To,
It's truly
to,
awesome.
to zoom in, I believe a week ago I was in Agora Hills. 2 weeks before that I was in Semi Valley.
Simi Valley.
Simi, thank you. My Spanish, sometimes, Simi Valley. I'm still, language is my first, English is my first language. Simi Valley. And then what about you? Where you've been?
Oh, I've been to Sacramento. We were in Sacramento for most of September. Then we were in the Bay Area, in Palo Alto, Redwood City. Those were the best.
Yeah, and in like 2 weeks, we'll be in San Francisco.
Yeah, we're going to Oceanside, San Francisco. Yeah.
And we're here now.
Yeah, now
We're
you're
in
here.
El Centro, yeah.
In El Centro.
Yeah, and just know we do
yeah.
all the travels. If it's close enough, we will drive or we fly. So here we drove. So it was a 3.5-hour drive. But yeah, it's been, I'm not one with nature. But El Centro definitely changed my mind.
Oh, yes.
I got to meet the burrowing owls. I'm going to give them a shout out because I didn't know that was a thing until I came to El Centro. And just the peaceful skies. And it's been absolutely beautiful. So you all have changed my mind about my walks with nature.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yes, we are a surprisingly pretty valley for our unknownness. So, I heard you talk about it earlier, but do you drive the museum yourself?
Oh, no. I don't have the driver's license. We have a bus driver who drives the bus. He spends most of the year living in hotels. This is what he does.
Wow.
And so he drives the bus.
He's our
From
first
school to
point
school?
of contact. So he comes, talks to the admin, and then gets everything situated for us.
Yeah.
And then we just show up and teach. So
Yep.
Jeff, shout out to you because you really do the Lord's work. You
Yep.
you do the hard work.
So, I mean, the Mobile Museum is not a very typical, area of work. It's not like your everyday office that you go to or field that you see every day. So, what are some of the challenges with having to be on the road with such a big museum?
I think you should go first. I really don't have any complaints.
Okay, yeah.
Is the issue?
So we have a great time, whether we're traveling or we're moving from place to place. Everything's been amazing, especially if you're like a traveler, an adventurer at heart. But as educators, I think, the goal and the challenge is always how can we reach more students, right? So do we face any challenges with the mobile? No, the challenges is sometimes it's like, can we realistically reach the whole school in a week? So maybe, our goal is to, how can we reach even more, schools in El Centro and, expand from your high school because we've had such a great experience and, reaching to other schools. And I think that would be the challenge of like maybe improving our, what would it be called, like our advertising. And that way we can reach more schools and more communities, even though we're limited already, and I believe we're booked until 2026, 2027.
Oh, congrats, you
So
guys.
then, and I think those would be the limitations, right? We're only like one team, and I think that would be the challenge, just reaching more students with, our not like our men.
Okay, I can think of a challenge. The challenge is that California is a pretty big state. We are one bus, and so we're flying pretty far. But I love traveling. I love getting to try new food. It's super exciting to see different communities in Los Angeles. Maybe one of the only challenges is that it can be emotionally tiring sometimes. We share, or we allow students to take space and share how they're feeling, and we do get some students who share some pretty personal stories, and we're the vessel to hold on to that for them. So it could be challenging but what we can do is we can debrief with each other and talk about, what that kid said or what that teacher said, and
Or go vent to the burrowing owls.
yeah.
Like we have avenues.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
we
great.
do. We do.
You guys are very resilient, and it's amazing that you travel all this way to reach all these people, and hopefully with this podcast as well, you'll get more outreach and even parents at home that'll start asking their students like, "Hey, I heard there was the Museum of Tolerance at your school. What'd you learn?" So,
And then to clarify on that, we participate with all different walks of life: independent schools, charter schools,
Public.
homeschool, and Catholic schools. So like our reach, is that the correct term? Is it a Catholic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like private.
Private
school.
schools,
Yeah.
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 So just, if parents out there or districts or schools are interested, we do reach out, or please reach out, and we accept all walks of life.
Yeah. If there's a building and there are students in it, and there's a parking lot, we will come. Yeah.
Perfect. So with these experiences, you're asking questions to students, and you have a book of quotes here. So I wanted to know, what are some of the memorable moments that students have shared with you?
So kids, they really say some amazing things, and they also say some really silly things. But one thing that really stuck out to me within my first week on the bus, I was teaching about Anne Frank, talking about Anne's experience, and I asked the students if any of them could relate to moving to a new place and relating to the feeling of feeling nervous and scared. And one student, this was in Sacramento, he said, I came here in a van from Tijuana. I felt nervous. And that just really stuck with me, that we have no idea where students are coming from. We're only with them for 45 minutes at a time, and that's still not enough to get to know them. But it's really amazing when students can take a risk and they feel safe enough to share something personal like that.
Yeah, or even being, like we've mentioned before, your school has been really amazing. Like, to be able to provide a 40-minute space and, students be able to use that space to tell their own stories has been really amazing. And even like the discussions, right? I think they're great, because even when we have discussions, it means that there's a close bond between the classrooms. And one memorable moment that I always laugh is we show this picture of the community coming together to fight for the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And one of the kids was like, that's Malcolm X. And then another student was like, bro, do you know who Malcolm X is? And he's like, yeah, that guy. And then he makes eye contact with me. I make eye contact with him, and I'm like, no, bro. No, you're wrong. That's not Malcolm X. And in that moment, right? But in that moment, it's just that, that might have not been Malcolm X, but, moving forward, hopefully he'll look into who Malcolm X was, what he did during the civil rights movement and what he believed. But in those moments, it's nice seeing, it was a mistake, but the community coming together be like, are you sure?
Yeah.
That's Malcolm, But it was just gentle correction. It wasn't like, oh my God, you're wrong. It was just very gentle correction. And it's still I've had a hard time looking at that picture and not giggling, because that's a very important interaction that I'm just I'm glad that even in a moment of wrongness, you spoke up with such conviction. Yeah. And I'm that is the power that we want to bestow upon youth. Speaking up, especially in different settings, is scary, but we're allowed to take space,
It's true. Mm-hmm. I think in the topic of civil rights and creating a space where students feel comfortable to speak. We had a group of fifth graders that we were teaching the civil rights movement, and we showed the picture of the two water fountains and how they were segregated. And one student, she told one of our other facilitators, she said, but Miss, the water fountains are different, but the water flowing through the pipes is the same. And it's not, nature doesn't, that was amazing, and blew both of us away. And the other facilitator, she said, it's not nature who separates us, it's us who separates us. And I think that's so important to remember, to think about, how do we separate ourselves from other people just because they're different. So it's important to think about it and reflect.
Yeah, and then we've had time where we have extra time to questions and answers. There was just one group that was really fascinated with me and asking questions, and they asked me a question, and they were like, what does tolerance mean to you? And it was, I responded with, even when I'm not, even when I don't want to be kind, I force myself to be kind, because kindness doesn't hurt, right? And they were like, yeah, and they were like, but what pushes you to do that? And I was like, well, one day when I meet my God, I told them, I was like, everybody has different beliefs, but in my belief, I when I meet God and I ask him, why did you let hunger, why did you let, pain happen in the world? I'm afraid that he's going to ask me, be like, why did you? and so like sometimes we forget the power of like what we're able to do now. And even Anne Frank said, right, change can happen now, and sometimes even as adults, I'm reminded that like change happens now. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. And it doesn't have to be big or amazing. It can just be like a simple like, hey, how are you today? Or like smiling or a high five, like, or a hug. I'm not a hugger, but I know people who are, So it's the simple things. And sometimes we want to go straight to the big impact and we forget the little moments. And that's why I'm just like, you know what? Just remember the little moments.
Yeah, so true. That was great.
So, on the topic of civil rights, for me, the last 2 years, I've actually been able to come and see your civil rights presentation with you guys and with the last presenters. Overall, what is your favorite civil rights story?
That's a tough one.
I think forever it'll always be the power of youth. That we as adults have pushed kids from ages all the way 6 to 16 to stand up for like human rights. And for me as an adult, I don't think that's right. Kids should have an opportunity to enjoy, being children, having a childhood. And I'm a girl who didn't get to enjoy her childhood. So I really prioritize other kids having childhoods, right? So being in a world and where like adults continue to fail kids, it's like horrible. Like at the end of the day, like we're making things that you all have to grow up and fix. And now you're losing childhood because like you're now, now we have to like advocate at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And from Ruby Bridges, she was only 6, and Jimmy Webb was 16, So what does that say as adults? Like we're forcing children to now stand up when they're already facing so much, right? What did we learn from Anne Frank? The adults think we don't have enough problems when in reality we have many problems, So I think just using our voices to empower the youth, like let us hear what they're saying because a lot of the times adults are doing all of the talking.
Yeah, that's so true. You took what I was going to say about children.
Hey.
And just like the wisdom that the youth have. They're experiencing the world right now. And so for them to say, this is not the kind of future that I want to experience. And I don't want my kids to live through that. So the fact that they were able to walk out of school and get arrested as teenagers and even younger. I think the one story that really stood out to me, we don't talk about it in the workshop, but there was a whole school where thousands of kids were going out and they went to protest, and so they were arrested, and some of them were as young as 4 years old. And they were in jail cells together, and the things that they did to keep themselves entertained was they would sing with each other, and all the girls would be on one jail cell and all the boys would be in another, and then they would sing back and forth to each other. And the power of youth and the power of music is just so inspiring.
You're listening to Valley Vibes and our visit from the Mobile Museum of Tolerance.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Right, we have to wrap it up. Like, let's close that sentence. Yeah.
For anybody who's wondering if there is a decent audio change, we switched from in the studio to in the field with our field equipment. So if there is any audio change, that is why. But on that note, we are running low on time, and it is time to wrap it up. So would you two have any last quotes, last messages for our little town or anyone else who's listening?
Just remember, we can learn a lot from the burrowing owls. They're curious, and they're very wise, and they're knowing, but they also know when to be owls. They will attack. And my message to the youth is you have to do both. You have to be able to gather information and make the best informed decision, but also be able to stand up when you need to stand up in whatever capacity that means. And don't forget, you all the future, and we believe that you do have the power to change the world.
Yeah, I would say injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Don't wait until you're affected by injustice. Try to step up when you can and stand up. One last thing.
In the end, we will not remember the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Thank you, Dr. Martin Luther King.
Perfect. I just want to give you guys one last thank you for joining us on this little adventure.
Yeah.
And I hope you enjoyed your stay, even though it was short, in this funny little valley that we all live.
It was amazing.
That was amazing. Thank you.
We learned a lot. We learned so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
That's how impressed I am by the burrowing owls.
I hope you enjoyed that interview as much as we enjoyed recording it. Here's a little inside view of what these presentations sounded like to the students.
What we're going to show you now is a video about the civil rights movement. And I want you to pay close attention to what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. There are instances of harmful language, discrimination, and racial slurs. So, take this time to prepare. And then we'll talk about this video at the end.
Problem, Chuck. This is a national problem. You can't keep anyone in the United States from voting without hurting the rights of all other citizens. Democracy is built on this. This is why every man has the right to vote, regardless. If what I'm saying true, is it what you think?
100 years after the Civil War.
You're listening to Valley Vibes and our visit from the Mobile Museum of Tolerance. All Valley Vibes episodes are available on Spartan Sound Productions YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and iTunes.
Next, I visited with Melissa Fusey about bringing the Mobile Museum to Central.
Hey, it's Luke. I'm here joined by Miss Fusey, a U.S. history teacher here at Central. Earlier in the episode, we interviewed some of her students to talk about their experiences in the museum. So for you, Miss Fusey, as a teacher, what have you perceived from your students in this experience?
All right, Luke. Well, fortunately, this is my second year having this amazing opportunity to take my students to the museum. And I think this year was just as awesome as last. From my perspective, it was wonderful to get to see the impact that the presentation had on my students. So they were engaged, they were discussing in the museum, they were sharing their personal experiences and their ideas, and some students were even sort of profoundly emotionally impacted by the experience. They had wonderful things to say afterwards about the experience and how it's made them think about their role in society and their future. One of the really cool things about the particular lesson that my students engage in is that the museum is called the Museum of Tolerance. And so it focuses on examples of intolerance that have happened all throughout human history, everywhere on Earth, right? It's not just about the Holocaust and the genocide that happened to Jews in World War II. So my students get to look at it from the lens of the civil rights movement in the United States. And the lesson itself focuses on how youth can motivate change and the role that young people play in civil disobedience, in standing up for discriminated groups. And so I think my students found that really powerful, to think that young people like them, 16, 17-year-olds back in the civil rights movement, were the ones that were advocating for change, and how they can also advocate for change for people that are disadvantaged today. So really impactful experience.
We're going to close today's show off with a couple of student reactions to their visit to the Mobile Museum of Tolerance.
Hi, it's Soleil here, and I'm here with some students from Miss Fusey's fourth period U.S. history class.
Hi, I'm Leah Rivera.
Hi, my name is Lana Alvarez.
And I'm Sebastian Vizcarra.
Alrighty, and today we're going to be asking them a few questions about the Mobile Museum of Tolerance. All right, so starting with Leah, what was something that stuck out to you most about the experience?
Something that stuck out to me personally, I would say, is the part of the video in the presentation where a police officer was asked if he could pray for someone that he was detaining, and he kept on refusing, just blatantly for the fact that he didn't want to. He was explaining how he didn't have any love for people of color. And I think personally as a Christian, it's something that we need to be so evident in, loving everyone, showing love to everyone, and something so powerful which is prayer, shouldn't be denied to anyone just because of our personal view on them. So I think that personally stuck out to me because a lot of the times Christianity can be used as something that racism will rely on, because people think that there's just so much hate overall, but when in reality it's the complete opposite. So personally in the presentation, that really just stuck out to me.
Alrighty, thank you so much. So thank you so much, Leah. That was really great input. And now I want to ask Dana, what was the most interesting thing to you about the Museum of Tolerance?
The most interesting thing to me was the part where they teach us about to stand up for others and ourselves, because I feel like nowadays people are just like letting stuff slide. They don't stand up for what they think it's right because they think they're going to be judged or just stuff like that. And that's what the Museum of Tolerance taught us, to stand up for what we think is correct.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so now with Sebastian. What's a story that you remember well from the experience?
So the story that really caught my eye was the Munimitsu family with the Mendes family. Because during World War II, I believe like people from Japan were being held in these camps, like unrightfully, and just the entire everything of it was just so unjustifiable. It was like very sad. And the Munimitsu family, they owned a farm, and they had the family friend, the Mendes family, who would wait, I'm trying to remember, I'm sorry. Yeah, no worries. They loaned their farm to the Mendes family just to, to keep it in like shop, to keep it like working in the progress, and don't make it like, so it doesn't like rot while they're away, unrightfully so. And also the Mendes family with their own child, creating the whole like, being the impact and the reason why the segregation laws in California were disbanded, making it the first state to do so. So I just find all of that like very like interesting, like the cause and effects of it all.
Yeah, that was a really great point. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's Luke, and I'm here with two more members of Miss Fusey's class from her AP US History class to talk about their experience with the Mobile Museum of Tolerance. I'm here with
Gracia Garcia. Miranda Vargas.
All right. So we'll start with Gracia.
I liked a lot about the Museum of Tolerance. I thought it was really cool. And the videos that they had a lot of videos of people singing together, and I thought that was really cool because it's like music bringing people together and inspiring freedom in all of us. I thought that was really cool.
Thank you. And Miranda.
Well, I learned a lot of stuff, and also like how it relates to today's situation, the music, the art, how people still have courage to stand up to the events that are still happening today, and we still have to fight against the events that happened back then.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wow, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Valley Vibes. It was very special to have the Mobile Museum of Tolerance visit our campus and provide the opportunities that they have for students to learn about. If you would like to replay this episode, you can find it and all Valley Vibe episodes on our Spartan Sound Productions YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and iTunes.
This program was produced and brought to you by Spartan Sound Productions. Special thanks to Ava and Raquel, presenters from the Mobile Museum of Tolerance, COHS Social Sciences teacher Mrs. Melissa Fusey, her students Leah, Lynn, Sebastian, Gracian, and Miran, and to our Valley Vibes hosts Luke and Soleil. Thanks also to Dr. Thomas Tacky, creator and executive producer of Spartan Sound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School, Mr. Javier Fimbres, and Power 98 for hosting us, and to you, the listeners.